Hello, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. This is Daily Dive. It is Friday, January the 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Michael Carvelis in Guyton, Georgia. Producer Joe is behind the scenes in back-to-back Bannerland, New York, as is, Bigo, our social media manager, is behind the scenes somewhere in the Northeast. I need to figure that out, actually. Okay, we are live on 12 on Sports via YouTube, X, and Roku. Subscribe to the 12 on Sports YouTube channel for other great shows and live sports. And also a reminder, it is season 3 right now, and on today's awesome show, we're going to talk to Professor Adam Levi, who is sticking it out with us. We'll explain it a little bit. Poutine Pat Gregoire, who will give us the betting angles for this week. And, of course, Pick'em, Week 7, myself and producer Joe's Pick'em and Best Bets. We want to also let you know that Callum Jones is out for the Ottawa Black Bears this weekend, which is not a very good thing. Alrighty, before we get started, this show is presented by tickets.12onsports.com. That's tickets.numbers12letters ozsports.com. Get your NLL tickets for less by going to that website, which includes every sport, by the way, and all your favorite artists' concerts, not to mention Broadway and theater. Tickets.12onsports.com. Alrighty, it is now time for a Friday tradition here. Adam Levi Friday tradition. Let's bring him on. Adam Levi, sir. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mike. As you can hear, I'm definitely under the weather. This is actually the first thing I've done all week. I've been bedridden, so happy to be joining you here, and hopefully I'll feel fully better next week.
Yeah, we thank you for toughing that out, because that is, you don't sound great. Thankfully, you look good as always, but it's just, I know how I felt whenever I was sick during the show. It's not a good feeling. So I feel your pain. We thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course. It's always great to talk lacrosse with you.
Reminder, Preston's Picks is on officepooljunkie.com. What is the foundation again for Tucker?
The Tucker Williams Braver Than Brave Memorial Fund. So the winner will get $51 in their name donated to that foundation every week. So that's always great. And so far raising a couple $100. By the end of the season, it will be over $1,000. So, this is all, in kind of, it's been blessed by the Williams family, and you can see it as kind of another addition to everything that's been done by the NLL and the Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup and all these things to help raise awareness about these important issues.
Which is awesome. And we thank you for that and the Williams family for standing by that. And, of course, Lacrosse Matrix Podcast. We know you haven't probably been on it this week, but we appreciate all the hard work you do, Adam. All righty. I'm excited for this because now we're going to do 2 games today, but I feel like they're games like you wanted to get to, and I know all 7 are intriguing, but the first one we're going to get to is the Ottawa Black Bears without Callum Jones and the Georgia Swarm. 2 goaltenders playing well. Lyle and Jeff Teat doing Lyle and Jeff Teat things, Jacob Dunbar, etc. What are you expecting this game, and hype us up for the best way you can?
Yeah, I think one of the best ways to hype this one up is what are we going to get from each club, both coming off of very unusual and unfortunate losses. Georgia letting up 16 goals. You see Brett Dobson there not looking like Brett Dobson for most of that game. The defense of Georgia really looking perplexed for so much of that game against Rochester. Very uncharacteristic of them. So how are they going to fare against the Ottawa Black Bears? But at the same time, Ottawa only scored 5 goals against San Diego. And how do they bounce back? And, you got to feel for the pressure now on Zach Higgins, because he was phenomenal against the San Diego Seals. Really unbelievably impressive. And I think one of my only tweets this week was that, if you look at the 6 goals that he allowed over the week, 1 was on the power play and 2 other were diving goals. So really he only allowed 3 goals that maybe he would say, okay, maybe I want those back, which is an unbelievable thing for a goaltender to believe. So, without Callum Jones in front of him, that's going to be huge. Callum is obviously one of the top defenders in the National Lacrosse League, even as a young kid. I love how he plays. Really one of my favorite players personally as well. So it's really going to be interesting to see, how both teams are going to come out. They both are going to have an edge. They're both going to want to prove something. I do think that Georgia does pull this one out, though. I think that they, at least offensively, have shown what they can do a little bit more than Ottawa. Ottawa's shots are so low this year. And when you're facing a team like Georgia that has a great defense and a great goaltender, when you have that few shots, that is probably going to be an issue for you.
Yeah, Georgia's defense has been mighty impressive this year. Brett Dobson, you mentioned Zach Higgins, but like I said, Brett Dobson has also been playing well. Looking like a back-to-back PLL champ, a guy who's ready to take the next NLL step. So it should be a fun defensive battle. And who did Preston pick? I'm gonna ask you for these two games because there's 7 of them. Who did Preston pick for this one?
He picked the Black Bears.
Yes, I knew it. I love it. Alrighty, so let's now get into the Las Vegas Desert Dogs against the Saskatchewan Rush. A game that might be under the radar, but I know the Warriors and Seals is a West showdown, as I teased it. This is also a West showdown, technically. Las Vegas got a big win. Saskatchewan hasn't played a little bit, so how are we feeling?
I think that Saskatchewan is going to come out guns blazing. I think that they really want to have this win at home in front of their crowd. I really think that they have a lot to prove, or to that fan base that doesn't seem to be showing up at this point, to say, hey, like, look, we're going to give 100% every time we go out there. We're going to beat the clubs that we need to beat. And sure, Vegas is one of those clubs that they feel like if they lose at home to the Desert Dogs, then there's a problem. And then, of course, when you've got a team like the Desert Dogs, who was coming off a very emotional win, an amazing performance by a rookie in Jackson Webster, really amazing to see his hat trick against the Albany Firewolves, and to beat Doug Jamieson 3 times is not an easy thing to do for any player in the National Lacrosse League. Jonathan Donville had his, dare I say, breakout game of the season, at least when it comes to goal scoring. He's been an assist guy, so that was awesome to see him. And being at that game in person, he was fired up. He's very composed, especially you've seen him on the mic. You know how he is. He's very calm, cool, collected. But boy, seeing that energy on the floor was really cool to see. I do think Saskatchewan takes this one. I do think that their rookies are going to play that kind of pivotal role as they have all season, whether it's going to be Brock Haley, Levi Anderson, Josh Wada, a good friend of yours, and a guy that you love in Jake Naso. So, who has been a really welcomed addition at the Face-Off X. And I don't know if you remember this, Mike, but he is actually on pace right now to set the franchise record for face-off win percentage in a season for the Rush. So, that's so vital. We can talk about possessions all we want, but the reality is that the more possessions you get, the better chances you have to score. Whether they can complete those chances or not is another story. But I think that team, as I've said all year long on this show, I think the Rush are the real deal, and I think the Rush are going to pull this one out.
Chiliana's playing well. Is Robert Church back this week?
I don't think so. I haven't seen the latest injury report. But that would obviously be a welcomed addition. He had missed his first game in a long, long time. We're seeing kind of a lot of big pieces kind of work in and way out of the lineup this year. Obviously, you mentioned Callum Jones earlier. You've got Cody Jamieson coming back for the Halifax Thunderbirds for only his second game of the season. Mark Matthews missing his first game of his NLL career, which started in 2013, which is just wild. So you've got a lot of big name pieces still out, still in, moving kind of all around, which always are interesting for the storylines as the week unfolds.
Absolutely. Adam, I know it's short-lived today, but you are obviously under the weather. But we thank you for coming on. I mentioned the Lacrosse Matrix podcast earlier. Before I let you go, what have you got coming up on that and all your other stuff on Isle Indoor, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question in terms of Lacrosse Matrix podcast. We'll see as the week unfolds. Sometimes I like to see what milestones are hit or what milestones are getting closer to being upcoming. As the season unfolds, I will be introducing more guests that are not necessarily current players. Last season and the season before, I started diving back into going back, talking to Hall of Famers, players who had achieved a lot, and kind of getting their perspective of what they're seeing from this batch of kids that are out there right now. So those are always fun to watch. Maybe get a couple of coaches. There's a couple of huge coaching milestones that are kind of on the radar list right now. Kurt Malosky hitting his 100th before. I believe Mike Hazen is still searching. He's working his way up the list. I believe it would be Chris Hall, or maybe it's Bob Hamley. One of the two, he's moving up the top 10 list with a win. Obviously, Toronto's still searching for that win. Mike Hazen as well, trying to move up the list as well. So a lot of coaching milestones on the docket.
I got one more thing to ask you here. Are you W or L for the Rochester Nighthawks 90s uniforms?
I think any kind of uniform adjustment is a win. I think it's cool for the fans. I think it's great when they start to kind of do things differently. So anytime that there's an alternate uniform or a special uniform, I picked up a Tucker Lymphoma shirt. I didn't get a jersey, but I got a shirt. I've got to ship one to Dan Arestia, who I picked one up for. So he'll be getting his shirt in the mail shortly. But yeah, it's always cool when we can kind of do those spin-offs. It gets fans excited about what's to come.
I love that. Thank you, Adam. I'll let you go. You enjoy your day. Get your rest. Drink your water. Don't get pressed and sick. All that good stuff.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Adam Levy. Follow him at Adam Levy LAX on Twitter and Adam_Levy_LAX on Instagram. The Twitter is always bumping with information and knowledge that you need. All right, when we come back, it's Best Bets with the best betting angles with Pat Gregoire. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't. You're watching Daily Dive.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DustPods or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alrighty, back here on Daily Dive, we are with Pat Gregoire, who is in Buffalo, right?
Oh, yes. Right in Buff Vegas. It is my favorite, absolute favorite game on the schedule. Oh, look at that. Enjoying
I can tell 'cause you're a Bills fan.
I wish I was staying until Sunday. It's actually quite the weekend for Buffalo.
That's true.
Friday, you got Bandits, Rock. Saturday, Sabres, I think Kraken, and then on Sunday, the big daddy of them all with the Bills taking on the Broncos. But for me, my favorite game of the year or games is Buffalo, Toronto. But it's so much sweeter when you're in Bandit land, and I'm so excited for this game, man.
Especially when Toronto doesn't know where their barn is, but that's not fair to the people here. Okay.
Come on now.
I know. They packed out the last game. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Right, so we're talking to Poutine Pats, of course, part of Coolbeck Canada. Whatever you call yourself at Coolbeck Canada. What are you again, just so we know?
What do we call?
Manager or the country manager?
Oh, country manager. Yeah, country manager.
Okay, sounds good enough to me. And then OTCD podcast.
It sounds important, I guess.
No, it's awesome, yeah. The Teddy Jenner, the teddy bear himself with OTCB podcast. We're excited for that. All right, so Pat. Got 3 games for you here. Maybe time for one more. But, of course, Rock Bandits, personally, I want to let you know, and just for the people that are aware of this game, it's at 22.5 on Coolbet for the total, but 21.5 in the U.S. here on the books. But I do want to mention Mark Matthews is out. Challen Rogers is in, which is like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And I think now the Bandits are going to cover. What is your angle, if any, on this game?
Well, I think when you look at these rivalry games, especially not just in lacrosse, but sports in general, when you have these teams that are the underdogs tend to find ways to keep things close. You see it in college football with big rivalry games. Look at, hey, everyone and their brother thought that Ohio State was going to go and play Michigan and beat the wheels off them. Michigan wins outright. We see it in all different sports. Look at the AFC
Patriots,
North.
Bills.
Patriots, Bills. Of course, I mean, Bills weren't playing anyone, but I digress. That's a conversation for
AFC
another
North,
day.
Go ahead.
But like they just beat each other. So you think rivalry game, this means so much. Toronto off to one of the worst starts in their entire franchise history. Could go 0-5. Last, they have not been in this situation in a very long time. They started 0-6 in 2016. The Bandits are on fire. They haven't looked higher. This could be a good spot where you buy low on the Rock and think that they're going to cover. Not this case. I'm sorry. Buffalo has looked too good. I agree with you, man. I think Buffalo covers. I really do. Buffalo has dominated this rivalry. They've won 8 in a row in Buffalo or against Toronto. So they've also beat Toronto 10 of the last 11 games. They have owned this rivalry. It doesn't matter if it's playoffs, doesn't matter if it's regular season. Buffalo over the last couple of years have owned Toronto, and that's when Toronto has been full strength. That's when Toronto last year were the number 1 seed. That's when Toronto had Tom Schreiber in the lineup. That's when Mark Matthews had a resurgence of a year. That's when Latrell Harris, maybe not last year, but the year before. This team's too banged up to go up against the Bandits. I think Toronto eventually turns things around. I think it might be a little too late. Like, they're going to go on a run here. They're going to put a bunch of wins together once they get healthy. But starting out 0-5 is going to be real tough. And I think that is going to be the case. And I think Bandits have a big exclamation mark in this one. So I like them to cover, staying away from the total because, we do know this Buffalo offense can go off and can explode. We know that on the other side of the ball, Matt Vince is off to one of the best starts of his career. He looks like he is in mid-season, mid-playoff form right now. The team is averaging less than 7 goals a game. So it's too difficult to read on both sides. And I don't know what you're going to get out of this offense for Toronto. And quite frank, I don't know what you're going to get out of this defense for Toronto. So I'm staying away from a total. Give me the Bandits -2.5.
So not to take anything away from the books or Coolbet specifically, but one more thing I want to ask you about this game is,
sure,
for those that bet a lot of money, minus 270. I know it's a big risk, but if we think the Bandits are going to win anyways, is it safer to just do that, or would you just take the gamble on 2.5 just because?
Maybe if you want to put a parlay together with some of the other games, just to be quite honest, I don't think there's a lot of gimmies on this schedule. I think this is a really, really tough week to pick.
Love it.
Which makes it more challenging from a betting perspective. But no, 270 is too much, Mike. Like, you got to be, unless you're a big wig and throwing down some serious coin, I would highly, highly suggest not doing that and just trust your instinct and go with the Bandits to cover the spread.
I love it. Love it so much. I just had to plug that in there. All right, so we got the San Diego Seals and the Vancouver Warriors. I called it yesterday, Thursday's show. I'm so mean. A West Coast showdown. It's two teams that at the end of the year could be representing somebody if there was a Western Conference out there, obviously. And the total in this game, this is one of my favorite games of the week, not just because of the matchup, but because it's 22 even on CoolBet for the total. It's 22.5 on FanDuel and Bet365. It's 21.5 on DraftKings. So it's like, pick your poison. Pat, I like the over because I think both teams' offenses are really good despite your defenses being great. What do you like?
I hate to go against you, but I like the under here. I really do. I think when you look at I see where you're coming from. Sure, San Diego has some electricity up front. Ryan Benesh continues to score goal after goal. Wes Berg is a perennial goal scorer in this league. You looked at last game, even though they only scored 6 goals, so the first time ever a team won with 6 goals, they were also getting some offense from the back end. They got some transition goals as well. Do I think the defense and Chris O'Reilly can hold another 5 spot here against Vancouver? No chance. Absolutely not. But with that being said, you look at what Vancouver is doing. You look at what Aiden Walsh is doing right now.
Oh,
Mike.
Yes.
He's right up there in goals against and save percentage. Maybe not quite Matt Vince numbers, but he's standing right there. He is off to such an unbelievable start. And this is a franchise, a team that everyone preseason was saying, man, if they can trade for Del Bianco, this team is a championship contender. If they can solve the goaltending. And what has Walsh done? He's used all that outside noise and used it as motivation. I don't know for certain, but I know the way that these goaltenders work. And if you're a goalie in the National Lacrosse League, you have confidence. You have to believe in yourself. He's believed in himself. He's doubled down and he's gambled on himself. And kudos to Kurt Malosky for believing in him and not making that trade to, let's be honest. We've heard lots of things that the trades would be astronomical. He didn't want to gamble that. He trusted in his guy. And I think Walsh has done a fine job. I think that defense, they blocked the most amount of shots in the league per game. 28 goals against in just 3 games. I really like Vancouver's defense, and I like the Seals defense too. So give me the under. I'm sorry, Mike.
So I don't know if you just convinced me there. I don't want to go that far yet. I know I'm one of the ones that I like to handicap first, and I don't want to be swayed. But I will admit, me and Jake Elliott talked about this on Wednesday's show. And Jake was like, it's a win-win for Vancouver now with the Aiden Walsh thing. If he ends up falling off, they can still trade for Del Bianco. If he doesn't fall off and he keeps it up, we have Owen Grant, who's now a goal scorer, and we have Aiden Walsh. I'll take my chances with that defense. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and that's the big thing for me, because I was doing my prep for the game tomorrow night. And when you think of the Buffalo Bandits defense and Matt Vince, you think of all those block shots. You think of them getting in lanes. Well, it's actually Vancouver who blocks more shots per game than Buffalo. They're the only team that does it more. And I think they're going to do a really good job again, slowing down San Diego. We see a pushback from this Seals offense. We see a better performance, but I still think it stays under that number.
Love it. You got me on that one. All right.
Stay as a seasoned gambler of myself. Trust the gut. Trust your instinct. Do not sway. Hold true. Hold pat. Because whenever that instinct that you get, usually first is the one that's right. Trust me, as someone who's lost money year after year, take it from me. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Don't galaxy brain yourself.
Yeah, Coolbet did not hire this guy because he was great at betting. I don't know that's why or not. All right. Calgary Roughnecks at the Philadelphia Wings. I love the idea of Doby against O'Neill, but 24.5. I know a lot. These games, we've seen some low-scoring games this year, but we're going to see some fireworks, Pat. Give me some fireworks, man.
I think so. I think these are the two teams in the league where you look at their offense and say, wow, like what they've been able to do. I think Philly has been a little more sustainable, a little more consistent offensively.
Yep.
Mind you, they also went up against Vegas twice when Vegas was playing pretty bad. But I'm not going to take anything away. Mitch Jones and Joe Resetaric's friend of the program, you could argue are both putting themselves into an MVP candidate.
Woo!
Brendan O'Neill looks phenomenal and is proving all the dumb doubters who didn't think this guy could play inside the box, and is not only looking like a rookie of the year candidate, he's looking like mind you, lots of season left. Someone might be able to close that gap, but he's looked phenomenal. And then you look at Calgary, the way that they have been very inconsistent keeping the ball out of their net. For stretches, we've seen it against that game in Halifax, fourth quarter. They're able to come back. The defense and Cam McLeod figure things out. The comeback against Albany, same thing. They closed the door. Unfortunately, them not playing a full 60 is going to hurt them, and it's going to hurt them at some point. And I think it's going to come soon. And the way Cam McLeod has looked, I think Philly has an opportunity here to pick them apart. With that being said, Calgary is so good offensively. I think they might be able to exploit, not Nick Demute, because I think he's been great, but I think they can expose Philly, whose defense has kind of been overperforming, in my personal opinion. I know they've added some nice veteran pieces back there, but again, I think going up against Vegas twice, where their offense is in an all-time slump, and then switching the page and going up against this seasoned unit, I don't see it. So just looking at the numbers here, Mike, Philly right now, second in goals per game at 15.25. Calgary is in third with 13.67. And then when you look on is the math mathing? Okay. Is the math is mathing? The math is mathing. I'll throw some more numbers at you. Look at this. Poutine Pat, the numbers guy. Mm-hmm. Calgary, 14.33 goals against per game. That is good enough, or poor enough, I should say, for 13th in the league. Only Vegas has given up more goals per game. And Vegas is only a couple points lower with 14.8 points given up per game. Philly, probably mid-pack here at 9. They're averaging about 12 goals a game. So the math is mathing. You can't set this total high enough. I'm taking the over. I'm putting my trust in Doby. I'm putting my trust in Dixon, Jones, Resetarits, O'Neill, the names over and over and over again. And I know the old adage goes, defense wins championships. That's the case. But in a regular season game, offense cashes tickets. Simple as that.
The money dance. I love it. So with this game, the Wings, we talked about the Seals' good defense. They put up 15 on those boys, and that was a track meet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Wings put up in a loss. Well, yeah, that was a loss. 19-15 against Vegas, like you said, and then 11 against the Rush, who have a pretty good defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, those WTF goals is what hits the overs. How many times Curtis Dixon like, how crap did he make that one?
Yep.
Like, what?
Yep. I know. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's an early afternoon game in Philly, which again is a little bit scary because sometimes in those early afternoon you get that little sleepy start, but just the way that these offenses have been playing and the fact that both units have been struggling to keep the ball out of the net in certain points of this early season, I'm taking the over. And if Coolbet was to set an alt line, I'd be taking the alt line and the over because I don't see many stops in this game. Maybe we could do it. I don't know. We'll see. I might know a guy.
Okay. 24.5 for most in the U.S., but 24 on cool bets. So you hope they hit 25, obviously.
Yeah, we said the math was mathing. 28. We got it.
All right, so let's do. I have a big neck for those watching, but let's do Thunderbirds Nighthawks just because we have a little bit of time here. So you call this a Nighthawks Bowl off the air.
Yep.
You're not the first one, but I love it though.
Won't be the
90s
last.
Right, 90s jerseys, by the way, which I love, by the way. So in this game, Pat, I'm feeling, for me, Rochester against Buffalo, throw it out the window, and technically for 3/4 they look pretty good against Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rochester, if they are who I think they can be, they slam the door and run away from this game. What do you think?
This one's very intriguing for me. I know I listened to your rant earlier this week, or overacts this week. Is Rochester a contender? Well, before the season started, I had them as kind of a dark horse to be a potential championship team. I really did. I thought, with a healthy Rylan Hartley, obviously that hasn't been the case, but we can stop saying that goaltending is preventing this team from winning, because Hutchcraft has been phenomenal. He has kept this team. It's been the offense that has been disappointing at points this year. It's been the defense that hasn't really quite gelled as quickly as Dan Carey, the GM, and Mike Hazen, the head coach of this team, has thought. But from what we've seen in stretches, what we saw last game, I do feel like this Rochester team does have that potential. Graydon Hogg looked really good getting inserted into that lineup. Kyle Waters finally looked like he came to life. Ryan Lanchbury is having a sneakily really, really solid season.
Yes.
With that being said, I think Halifax, we don't know who Halifax is yet. I don't have any word. I got to assume they're not going to start Warren Hill. You got to assume Hutchie's going to get the net here. It could be, that's where I think we really get this test here. And it's crazy to say, with how explosive both these offenses can be. I like the under. I like the under. Let's go, Mike. Let's go. I like the under here.
Remember what I said last year about Drew Hutchison? I had a little small topic.
Yes, you did.
And in relief, he's been okay. And if it's a new life that a team, sometimes it's not that you're better, it's that like maybe the backup quarterback can just do something different, Give you some energy boost.
100%. And Hutchison's numbers, like when you look at them against Warren Hill, aren't that much better. He's got a much better GAA, 11.91. Save percentage, 75.4. Warren Hill's is 74. So the numbers aren't too crazy.
Right.
But what Hutchison, what he did in that, closing out the game against Albany is a different story. He shut the door. They give up 9, they switched goaltenders, and he was phenomenal. Slams it shut. But what he is doing when he does come in relief, in comparison to Warren Hill, is not allowing those deflating goals. Yes. The outside shot that the defense is giving up that look and saying, Warren, this is the shot you want. And the ones that go in, or when the team goes on a run and you need a big stop, just Warren was not coming up with those. Hutchison proved, especially in that game against Albany in relief, he was there for those juice saves. So I think we're going to really find out what this team is all about when it comes to their defense, when it comes to obviously their goaltending. And we know their offense can score in bunches, but I do also believe that the other Hutch, this is also the Hutch Bowl. I just realized it's not just Hutchie versus Hutchie. When you look at what this offense is able to do, certainly they can scare you when you take the under. But I just feel like this team understands that this might have to be a little more of a grind it out, that they might have to slow things down. So the one thing I think I've seen a lot of people jumping, and this game is when you look at certain books, like I know CoolBet right now, Halifax is a favorite. You look at some of the other books down the States, Rochester is the favorite. Just kind of looking behind the curtain, we've got a pretty big online presence in the East Coast where the Thunderbirds are. We're in Canada, so there is a lot of money that comes on to the Thunderbirds. I think that's probably goes into it. Me personally, if I'm handicapping it, it's a pick 'em. But one thing we have to keep in mind, we talked about this being the quote unquote, the Nighthawks Bowl. One, those Rochester jerseys are unbelievable. They got to wear them all the time. Like they got that color scheme is phenomenal, and it's way better than what they've got. It's essentially what they used to wear. Obviously not the same logo, but the same colors. That might be a little bit of salt in the wound for some of the guys that played in Rochester before. I think that might be almost like a little bit of a motivating factor for this team. And the one thing is, Halifax has dominated this rivalry. They're 6-1 against the new Nighthawks since that franchise has come about. The only time they did lose, though, was in Rochester. So majority of those games, I think they're 4-1 at home and 2-1 in Roch Vegas. So take that with a grain of salt. I still am staying away from a side because I think this should be a pick'em. I really think that this is a game that probably goes down to the wire. So maybe whatever side your book has, just take the +1.5 on each side because you think it's probably going to be a close game. But for me, my best bet, it's the under.
And also for money lines, it's -110, both of teams at FanDuel, -115, both teams are DraftKings, but you got one team's got a 1.5 point. You get it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Listen, have a great call with Teddy and Ashley again, right?
Teddy and Ashley, yes.
Cool.
I think next week. Actually, I think it's Matt next week. I probably should know. That's pretty bad. But who cares? We're focused, just like the players always say. It's one game at a time. So we're worried about Buffalo right now. Then I've got a doubleheader though next week, going from Ottawa out to Halifax. So going to be a busy lad next week, collecting all those air miles.
Well, have fun with that. Hope Capital One loves you as well. And you, sir, have a great week and enjoy the games, all that you can watch.
Thank you. You guys keep well, and Producer Daddy, we'll see you hopefully after the game, buddy.
I'm dead.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DustPods or visit dustpods.com today.
What up, everybody? It's producer Joe, the baddest daddy in producing history, here to tell you all about the baddest, daddiest merch store. Go to the link tree in the bios of either our IG or Twitter, and from there you can access merch for the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. I repeat, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. We got hoodies for when your girl comes over and wants a cuddle. Just don't let her take it when she leaves. How about a Baddest Daddy cap for when you lie about how much you hate Mike in this show, but you're still here? We've got beanies so you can do that in the cold too. Guys, what's going to happen when all these moms see you dropping your kid off at practice in this thing? Want to sip like a daddy and feel like a baddie? Check out that mug. 6-time NLL champ Johnny T and savior of my Buffalo sports childhood knows what I'm talking about. Guys, I'm really going to need you to start buying shit because I'm getting sick of doing Instacart. But yeah, go check it out so you can start repping and supporting the brand. Producer Daddy out.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Reminder that when today's awesome show ends and you're getting your tickets for the next game, be sure that you got them for less at tickets.12onsports.com. Tickets.numbers12lettersozsports.com. You will not regret seeing things live, knowing you got your tickets for a great price. Rest in peace, Tony the Tiger. That was a long time ago, but it had to be said. Okay. Let's now get into our Pick'em, which features myself and producer Joe's Pick'em and best bets for the weekend. Alrighty, I'm 17-13. Boo! Producer Joe's 16-14. Ugh. So it's not looking great right now. We're not Teddy Jenner, that's for sure. I've got we've both got the Bandits, the Seals, the Wings, the Nighthawks, and the Rush. I've got Ottawa, he's got Georgia. I've got Colorado, he's got Albany. Actually, I did that wrong. Okay. The graphic's supposed to be switched. I'm an idiot. I knew I was going to mess something up. And I'm supposed to be the one with the Firewolves. And he's the one with the Mammoth. I'm the one with the Swarm. He's the one with the Black Bear. So I will fix that before it's posted. I'm an idiot. That's why he does graphics. I don't. Okay. And, of course, our best bets of the weekend, here they are. Producer Joe is feeling frisky this week. He has 4 of them. There they are. He's got Bandits to cover, Nighthawks money line, which is plus money on Bet365, Rush money line, which is minus 250 on everything, and San Diego Vancouver over 21.5, completely fading Pat Gregoire. I've also got the Bandits to cover the spread at minus 2.5 versus the Rock. I like the Nighthawks to cover against the Thunderbirds at minus 1.5. That's plus money on DraftKings. And I love the Saskatchewan Rush and the Dogs under 23.5. I think both offenses can go cold. We'll see what happens. I want to give a shout out to our commenters. Spencer Conley had a couple of Nighthawks things. Made a great point about we get to see Jake Withers and Mike Sisselberger this weekend. The Pat Gregoire segment was pre-recorded. That's why we couldn't show those comments then. And Josh H. says, "Let's go Wolves." He also told the people that get well soon at him earlier, and no one acknowledged it. Unbelievable. Okay. So before we let you go, I've got something cool to say. We just got a letter. Okay. So here's the thing. For the first time, of course, as this thing grows and grows, we're going to see more cool stuff like this, hopefully. But I always bring on guests on this show. Well, I've never been invited to go on anything lacrosse related. And I think one of the coolest things to show that we exist is doing that. And my first ever appearance will be courtesy of John Gertler. All across Western New York on WGR 550 AM. I will be on the halftime show with John Gertler. I'm very excited for that. Again, WGR 550 AM. I will be there. You can also look that up online anywhere, from anywhere you are, and you can see it. So you can listen in. It's gonna be great. We're gonna post it afterwards. We're also gonna post the links to listen to it live. I greatly appreciate John Gertler. I love doing this stuff, and it's awesome that people actually care about what I say enough. Because I don't. It's hard for me to take compliments sometimes because of the social awkwardness that I have, but I will admit it's pretty awesome. And John Gertler, it couldn't have happened for a better first time for me than with the legend that is John Gertler. So I'm taken aback by it. Hopefully you guys can enjoy it if you are listening in. Be sure to do it safely, of course, because, we don't want you texting while driving, because that would make no sense. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We want to remind you to follow us individually on the social medias, not just at Daily Dive LAX, but also at the things below at Daddy_produces / Badass Production Father. Bigo's at LJ Lacrosse 49 on both Twitter and Instagram, and I am at Michael Carvelis, but you knew that part. And I appreciate you, Josh, because it's cool. All right, reminder, you guys know you make this all possible. You're the bread, you're the butter, you are the rest in peace Tony Tiger to whatever the crap that reference was earlier. Good Lord. But thank you for tuning in, commenting, all that good stuff. For all of our guests, like Adam Levi, who topped it out today, like Pat Gregoire, who was able to record with us to make it possible, all the ones we have this week, all those to come, etc., etc. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing your platform with us, giving us validity and relevance. For Big O's always dialing it up on social media and tapping the good screens. And of course, the baddest daddy in producing history who had to leave early today, producer Joe. Boo. I'm your host, Mike, saying have a great weekend. See you Monday to talk about it all. Same time, same place, One Sports. This has been Daily Dive. I'm never seeing that outro again.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.